everyone, it's Annie, and today I'm here to film my third video about my 2021 reading challenges that I'll be participating in. This video will be about the Buzzword-A-Thon, hosted by BooksandLala. I'll link her channel down below. She's one of my favorite booktubers, and I know most people probably know of her, but if you don't know her channel, definitely check her out. She's one of the best. So a little introduction about this readathon. I think this is the first year that she's setting it up this way, although I haven't been on Booktube for a long time, so this is the first year I'm participating in it. And the way it's structured this year is that she gives 12 buzzword prompts, one for each month. And there are a bunch of different ways that she suggests you can read for it, like read for the first week of each month and just read as many books as you can with this buzzword in the title, which I am not going to do. The other way that she suggested is that you can pick one or more, I guess, books for each buzzword per month. That's the one I'm doing, and let me tell you my TBR for this. The word for January is dream. And originally I planned to read In the Dream House, but I changed it to Fever Dream by Samantha Schweblin. I loved this book so much. It's a translated work from an Argentinian author, and it is just spectacular. I am really glad that I chose to read this. Of course, In the Dream House is still on my TBR, but I just felt like, you know, a bit of a mood reader at the time, and I just wanted something suspenseful and more on the horror, weird side than a memoir. So yeah, that's what I read, and I definitely recommend it. For February, it's a bit more loose. It's just to pick a book with a color in the title. Now, there are a few that I could pick for this. One of them is Red, White, and Royal Blue. Yes, I have not read this yet. I know. I have to reiterate, I don't really like romance, but I don't know, something about it just doesn't call to me as strongly as some other books, but it's still on my reading list, and I could read this for that. The other one that I'm most definitely going to read is Gin Patrol on the Purple Line. And the reason I'm definitely going to pick this one is that it's also on the long list for the JCB Prize, which is a prompt for the Reading Women Challenge this year. If you haven't seen my video for that, I'll link it up here. So I think I'd prefer to read this book. The other book that I could read for this, which I am really planning on reading soon, I promise, is The House in the Cerulean Sea by T.J. Klune. I am already on the wait list for this book from my library, but it says it won't come for another 5 weeks, so probably not going to get to it for February. However, it's really high in my TBR, and I really want to read it soon. Now for March, the word is time. There are quite a lot of books that have the word time in them, but the two that I am looking at the most, one is The Stitch in Time by Andrew Robinson. It's a Star Trek book. I love Star Trek so much, and this book is written by the actor who played Garak, this character from Deep Space Nine. Alright, I'm not gonna go into his whole backstory. I don't know if you guys care. If you like Star Trek, please let me know, because I want someone to talk about Star Trek with. I love it so much, especially Deep Space Nine. It is the best Trek series out there, hands down. And I love Garak, and just the fact that the actor cared about his character so much to write his whole backstory, basically Garak's memoir, autobiography, for his character that he played, makes me so excited to read this. I have been meaning to read this book forever, so even if I don't read it specifically for this prompt, I need to get to it soon. The other book that I'm going to read is The Redemption of Time by Bao Xu. This also takes care of a Book Riot's Read Harder Challenge prompt, which is to read a fanfic. This is a fanfic for the famous sci-fi series, The Three-Body Problem. To be honest, I'm not as excited about it as I am for A Stitch in Time, but that's just how it is. I know I'm going to read this because it fits the fanfic prompt, so why not include it here? just to be sure. You know, I can always read 2 books for this time prompt anyway. The prompt for April is a book with a space or galaxy-related term, which is very exciting for me because I love sci-fi. The first one I chose is Packing for Mars by Mary Roach. I have read Stiff by her, which I enjoyed, and this has been on my TBR for a while. Honestly, the only reason I haven't read it yet is because my library doesn't have the audiobook for it, and I prefer reading audiobooks rather than ebooks, but I really want to read this, and it definitely fits this prompt. The other one I could choose is The Weight of the Stars by Kay Ancrum. I have never read a Kay Ancrum book. This book is high on my TBR. It's been highly recommended by a lot of booktubers that I trust, so that's definitely a contender. For May, the word is house or home. This is super easy. I am definitely picking other words for home, 100%. This also fits the Reading Women Challenge prompt, read a Muslim middle grade book, but even if it didn't, I would have chosen this book. This is really, really high on the priority list for 2021 for me. For June, this is an interesting kind of open-ended one. It's to read a book with a name or a title, like Mrs., Mr., whatever, in the title. So, of course, any biography could fit for this. For example, I have Alexander Hamilton on here on my TBR. Any biography, really. I have so many biographies that I want to read, so many could fit for this. But 2 fiction books that could also fit is A Man Called Ove by Fredrik Backman. I've still never read any Fredrik Backman books. I know A Man Called Ove is super highly rated, super highly recommended, and to be honest, it doesn't intimidate me as much as his other books, so I figured I might give it a try. The other book is The Mystery of Mrs. Christie. I am very, very interested in this book. It's about the mystery of why, how, and where Agatha Christie went missing. If you didn't know, she went missing for a period of her life, and even after she reappeared, no one knows what happened to her. She didn't say. So I have always been fascinated by that, and last year, I read my first 2 Agatha Christie books ever, so I am very interested in reading about this. For July, the word is last, and honestly, I only had 1 book on my to-read list on Goodreads that fit this prompt, and it is The Last True Poets of the Sea. I know it has to do with Shakespeare. I know it's a very emotional YA book, and honestly, the cover is gorgeous. And this book has always piqued my interest, so I would love to give it a try for this. And in August, it's also a bit more open-ended. It's to read a book with a word of the time of day in the title. So that means like morning, night, midnight, evening, dawn, whatever. So the first one that came to mind was Good Morning Monster. This book has been really highly recommended, and it's a nonfiction, which I love and I'd love to read more of. It's about a therapist, a few of her clients' stories, I believe, which I've heard that she really is very respectful and really knowledgeable, and just it's a really great book to read if you want to learn more about therapy and mental health. The next book that could fit this prompt is Twelfth Night by Shakespeare. If you watched my 2021 reading goals video, you know that one of my biggest goals this year is to read another Shakespeare play. So I am probably choosing Twelfth Night, although that's a little bit undecided as of yet, but it definitely would fit this prompt. And the last book that could fit this prompt is by the Korean author Bae Soo-ah, Untold Nights and Days. I really want to read this. I am very into Korean translated literature. I want to read more of it, and I've heard great things about Bae Soo-ah's writing, so this is definitely a big contender. For September, the word is dark. There are probably a lot of books that come to mind for a lot of people, but the only book on my TBR that has the word dark actually in the title is The Dead and the Dark. This book has not come out yet. It's coming out in August, so perfect timing. It's about a girl in Oregon, I believe, who her parents are ghost hunters, and she gets involved with this mystery, and it's also sapphic, and I am very excited for it. It's also one of my most anticipated 2021 releases. For October, the word is one of the 4 elements: earth, fire, water, and air. This is exciting for me. I love Avatar: The Last Airbender, even though, it doesn't have to be that, of course. But this is just exciting. It's a really cool prompt idea, I think. Probably my favorite out of all of these. So, I have a lot of books that could fit for this. The first one is Fireheart Tiger. Again, this hasn't come out yet. It's being published by Tor. It's a novella, and it's supposed to have Howl's Moving Castle vibes, and it's kind of inspired by Vietnamese and colonialism stuff. I don't know, it sounds amazing. I am very excited for this to come out, and of course it fits the prompt because of the word fire. Now, speaking of Howl's Moving Castle, the next book in the series that I still haven't read is Castle in the Air, so that's perfect. The next 2 both have Earth in the title. One is Disappearing Earth, and the other is Run Me to Earth. So those are both contenders. And the next one has the word water in it. Water for Elephants. I don't know how popular this book is anymore, but when it came out, I remember it was very, very popular, and I'd like to get to it eventually. The word for November is lost. The only book on my TBR that fits this prompt is The Lands of Lost Borders by Kate Harris. I love a good travel memoir. Love travel nonfiction. It's one of the things that I love to read about the most. And this is about the Silk Road, the former Silk Road, and the places that it has become. So I'm very interested in this book, and I'm glad I can read it for this prompt and finally get it off my to-read list, which it has been on for many years. And for December, you can pick a book that has the name of a day, a month, or a season in the title, so it's very open-ended. I have a few books here. One is Summer of Salt, which is a really highly recommended sapphic YA book that just sounds so heart-wrenchingly beautiful, so I really want to read this. The next is 10,000 Doors of January by Alex E. Harrow. I recently read The Ones and Future Witches by her, so I loved that book so much. I really want to read her backlist, so this is definitely probably the one I'm going to pick, but I have 2 more that could also fit. The other one is A Winter's Promise. I believe this is a translated work of fantasy. I'm always interested in reading more translated works, and it just sounds really, really interesting. And of course it fits because it has the word winter. And the last book that could fit this prompt is Winter in Sokcho. This is another translated work by a French-Korean woman about the town of Sokcho, which is on the border of North and South Korea. It's a South Korean tourist haven town. And this is actually the one that I want to read the most, but unfortunately, my library doesn't have a copy of it, at least on Libby. So I'm planning on recommending it to them and hoping that they buy it. It just came out in February of 2020, so it's pretty new. And the ratings and reviews that I've read of it say that it is absolutely beautiful, and I am really looking forward to reading this. It's also a very short read, so I like that. A short read about Korea, definitely a book for me. Alright guys, so that is my TBR along with some recommendations for the Buzzword-A-Thon this year. Let me know what books you're planning on reading for this readathon. I'd love to hear your recommendations too. And if you're gonna read the same books as me, please let me know. If you liked this video, please don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel for more bookish videos. I post every Saturday and Wednesday, so I hope you enjoyed. Thanks for watching. Bye!